an early voting record for a non-presidential election year. More than 735,000 ballots were cast in the 9 days of the early voting this year. That's 4 times more than in the 2021 mayoral race. The highest turnout was in Brooklyn, followed by Manhattan, Queens, and Bronx, and then Staten Island. And
Mandela, Mandami, yes, and Chromo. Tomorrow we'll be live sometime tomorrow. We will catch November 4th, 2025. We'll be live tomorrow catching some of that election news. So join me sometime mid-evening, because I'm thinking some of this stuff is gonna reveal who the victor will be early. Because look at these numbers again. These are the highest numbers ever. I think she said, what, 4 times as many people voted in early voting? Come on, man. Folks is tired. Maybe they want some of that reduction in the rent. Less billionaires. Free bus rides. What else to do with offering? You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man. Mandela. Let's listen to this again.
Voting record for a non-presidential election year. More than 735,000 ballots were cast in the 9 days of the early voting this year. That's 4 times more than in the 2021 mayoral race. The highest turnout was in Brooklyn, followed by Manhattan, Queens, and Bronx, and then Staten Island.
Now, let me ask you something. I'm going to get into this briefly, but simultaneously, what happened with SNAP? The powers that be have allowed for SNAP to be funded at least halfway. So you'll be getting 50% of your SNAP benefits. I am so shocked, but I am so glad. Half, Pearson? Yeah, half. Pick your job off the ground, half. And the question is when? I'll fill in the blank a little bit. But my larger question is this. Do you think that this voting thing, this election tomorrow, is connected to SNAP? That is, they had to save face, at least give them some money before folks really snap tomorrow? Interesting, huh? All right, hold tight.
And as the candidates continue their final push heading into Election Day, most polls show Zoran Mondani still has double-digit leads over Andrew Cuomo. And joining us now to tell us if she expects those numbers to change is Mina Bose, professor of presidential studies at Hofstra University. Mina, so great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, glad to be back. That's an exciting time in New York politics.
Absolutely. Tomorrow's a big day. What do you read into the early voting records that we saw set a record for voter turnout? We just mentioned that Brooklyn saw the highest number of voters turn out. Do you read anything into that?
Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we certainly see enthusiasm. I think early voter turnout is roughly 2/3 of what the total primary turnout was in June. So that's significant. That said, there is reporting that suggests the total turnout on Election Day, that after Election Day, the total turnout could approach 2 million. We haven't seen numbers like that for a mayoral race in more than 30 years. So it's, the early voter turnout certainly indicates enthusiasm, particularly on Saturday and Sunday and in specific boroughs. But of course, Election Day is still to come, and that's when the election will be decided. So, we can certainly read enthusiasm into it. It's hard to read a lot more else.
And we can certainly
No. I disagree. When you look at the pulse, when you feel the pulse of the people, not just in New York, but America as a whole, people are tired. We are 11 months, right? Well, give or take 10 months solid into the Trump regime. Presidency. Dictatorship. You know what I'm trying to say. We are 10 months into this time. And grocery prices and other basics, they're up. The man promised change. And all we getting is AI, waste, fraud, and abuse, cuts, and SNAP is limping. That's what we got. Oh, I forgot to tell you. AI and IT and anything in regards to computers, oh, it's great. And I think this is the second time in maybe 3 months Trump has said, the stock market has done great. We broke all the records. People, that's not our economy, okay? I did a financial report a little bit earlier. Check it out, my last video. At least the first 7 minutes, I talk about that. We're in trouble. The banks in the last 2 weeks have borrowed over $50 billion, and they borrowed some more money today because they're flat broke. Back in the day, I want to say maybe a decade or two ago, the banks were required to have at least 10% reserve money there. Do you remember that back in the day? I forgot what it was called. Put it in the chat if you remember. The banks were required to have 10% liquid money on reserves, no matter what. And they stopped that. I wonder why. I wonder why. Now you've got small banks hemorrhaging, and you have large banks borrowing like there's no tomorrow. Because as long as there's not enough money coming into the trough, they got to run and borrow. Selling bonds, stocks, getting it from the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is playing games. They finally lowered the interest rate. They're managing a crisis, people. Let's look. I think we're at $38 trillion now. Let's look at this debt clock. I showed it the other day. United States debt clock. Here we go. We at 38 trillion now, baby. Happy days are here again. The sky above is clear again. Come on, man, stop playing. The new money revolution. Y'all better stop playing a golden age. See how they playing? See how they play? They're letting you know something new is coming. Look what they put on the debt clock. They playing with us, baby. They know we're transitioning from here to here. So they don't care about this debt. They don't care about the debt. They're letting the country go to hell, baby. Broken wings. Where was I with my logic? Anyway, I think this lady, she's a professor, but she need to rethink this. People are tired. Not just with SNAP, we're tired. Every time you turn around, we got our noses in somebody's war, or we giving money overseas. America, we're second. We're stepchildren, where our own country treats us. So we're bewildered because we don't know if we can trust Republican, Democrat, or whatever. We take a broke Bernie with one eyeglass before we take anything else. It's crazy out here. So people are trying to vote and holding on to their rosary, to their cross, to their Bible, to their Lucky Charms. That's what New York is doing. And that's what other countries are doing. And yeah, she do got on them squares and that purple. But who knows? Who knows why she got it on? And they got on the red and black. Are they speaking? We're going to be live here tomorrow. We're going to cover this thing. Pray everything goes right. We're going to endure until the end. The Bible says endure to the end. Now check this out. Check this out.
We start this afternoon with breaking news in the shutdown fight after two major legal decisions. The White House saying it will be providing some food stamp benefits this month. Only half, though, of what SNAP recipients usually see.
Those benefits are, of course, usually deposited into accounts on the first of the month and were skipped because of the shutdown. Two judges last Friday ruling that the White House must provide these benefits with money from a contingency fund. Let's go to CNN's Elena Treen, who is live at the White House. Elena, what are we learning here?
Yeah, well, what we're seeing now from these court rulings today is that the Trump administration will provide partial funding to continue one of the nation's largest, or I should say the largest, food stamp programs in the country. Now, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which oversees the SNAP program, had initially said that they were going to be freezing the money that goes to SNAP essentially on November 1st. Of course, this comes during the government shutdown. They said they were running out of money, but because these two judges had ruled that the Trump administration had to keep this program going, now we're learning that they are going to, they said in a sworn statement, the agency is going to use roughly $4.6 billion from a contingency fund to help keep this up and running. Now, $4.6 billion is only about half of the money that is needed to keep this operating full time. So we're still looking at what this could mean once we hit that point. And to be clear, again, this is the nation's largest food program. It serves about 1 in 8 Americans, and of course is a major part of America's social safety net. And so this has been one of the key issues and concerns really as this government shutdown has continued. But now we're seeing they're going to pull on this contingency fund to at least pay for half of the money that they would normally during this time.
And Elena, during tomorrow's off-year elections, several key races could give us sort of a glimpse of how people feel about the economy and of course the administration. New polling, though, shows that voters may not be impressed with President Trump. The data finds he's hitting his lowest approval rating this term, just 37%, his highest disapproval, matching January 2021. Democrats also showing a very early advance, lowest approval.
This is what I'm talking about, people. Do you think there is do you think it's a connection? I think it is. I think they say, you know what? Let's get through this election thing. We're going to give them half. We're going to go ahead and give them the reserve. It's like a pacifier, which is insulting. It's insulting. They could not they came back from their little miniature vacation. I guess they went trick-or-treating. You're going to come back, you're not going to know who they are. Some of them probably still going to have on their mask. And they only going to give out contingency money. Well, what's going to happen later on then? When that money run out? And then on top of this, let me see here. For at least some states, USDA's understanding is that the system changes states must implement to provide the reduced benefits amounts will take anywhere from a few weeks to up to several months. I want you to hear this again, because this blew my mind. Listen to this right here. This is mind-blowing.
You mentioned it, but that is a higher disapproval rating than he did have actually when he left office during his first term.
Elena Train, live force at the White House. Thank you so much.
New today, the Trump administration says it will tap into a contingency fund to pay 50% of food stamp benefits in November. Last week, 2 federal judges ordered the administration to use those emergency funds for roughly 42 million SNAP recipients. But now there are significant questions about when the payments will go out. In today's court filing, the U.S. Department of Agriculture said, quote, for at least some states, USDA's understanding is that the system changes states must implement to provide the reduced benefit amounts will take anywhere from a few weeks to up to several months. With us now to discuss, we have Democratic Congresswoman Sarah
People, that's a problem. I said that's a problem. Is it that it's going to take that long for the whole thing to work itself through? People want to know when is the first check going to hit. That's all they want to know.
The $20 million that you set aside to help fund food banks statewide, do you know what happens with that now that it's half funded? Does that get added to the pot, so to speak? Or what can Illinoisans know, those who receive these benefits, about how much will be there for them this month?
Now, this is my governor, Prickster. He took all the money that he had to help during this crisis. He don't have no more right now. But again, one of the questions I have is, and I saw this a few days ago and I reported on it. If at all SNAP gets back on its feet as opposed to hobbling right now? Will the states be refunded? We got a lot to look at, a lot to look at.
SNAP is a 100% federally funded program. And so we're talking $90 million a week for Illinois is what normally would be
I was
provided
going to
for
ask you, how
SNAP.
big of a Band-Aid is that?
$20 million isn't enough. It just isn't. And we don't have enough money. $360 million in a month. We don't have an extra $360 million. We're going to do everything that we can, though. And remember, the distribution are very important, and those are the pantries. And they do such great work already. So what we're going to try to do is fund them to make sure that they've got money to provide mostly dry goods. They won't be able to do the slightly more expensive, fresh goods that they often are distributing. But at least we're going to keep people fed for as long as we possibly can. And look, if we run out, we'll have to obviously come back and figure out where we're going to find more money to support, because we can't let people starve. I mean, we have too many people in this state. 1.9 million people are getting SNAP benefits in a state of 13 million people. And we can't let them starve.
That's deep, y'all. That's just Illinois. That's my state. Now check this out. This guy's gonna break it down as well.
Sure. So, these are the only two major legal challenges that we're aware of so far. One filed by most Democratic-led states, the other by cities and nonprofit groups. The judges have spoken for now. It does seem like if the shutdown isn't resolved by the end of November, we could be back in exactly the same spot a month from now. But the funds that are being used would no longer be there.
Yeah, no, that is a very good point in terms of this, because there's so many different facets. This one we've latched on to because November 1 was the date for that. If it does continue on, will they have to find other places for this emergency funding?
They would, and there's kind of double speculation here if it continues on and what would happen then. But the federal government has said that there's not other funding that's available. So I imagine that if we get there, we'd probably see that argument made again.
Anything else, Jeff, that you're looking at in terms?
This is not good. We got to go beyond the yellow brick road. We got to look beyond this Band-Aid of resource/emergency money. And I am not clear. I'm trying to do my due diligence. I heard anywhere between 7 to 12 days, people get their first check. Then again, I've heard it might take months because they're behind. And one thing that made it behind is what I put out in my video a few days ago. I finally figured it out. Doge and the cutbacks of Doge, and then Trump, after Elon Musk left, a few months later, Trump fired, I think, like 100,000, whatever people. The people were fired first, then the programs were messed with later. It's the 1-2 punch. Let me pull up that video for you guys. I want you guys to see that video. I do so many, I'm trying to remember right quick. That video is this one here. We've been set up. You owe it to yourself. Just go to French Shot Blue. And it's this video here where you have Elon Musk and Trump. We've been set up. This is the revelation, I believe, was popping off. There is a strong chance we will never get this thing done right, and people will never have SNAP again. But I am praying to the Holy, I'm praying to Jesus. But they're trying to get this one world system. And I think what the logic is, if they continue to have people in misery mode and crying and without and hurting, putting all this pain on them, it'll be easier to accept the one world economic system. That's what I believe their goal is. It's a sick way of doing it, but it makes sense because these are the last days. Jesus is coming soon, but this Antichrist system is being set up. He said, I want to be like the Most High. and Satan has people in place making this thing happen. This does not have to be. And like I said, they're pushing all this other kind of garbage. They got the Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, JD, so-called alleged romance going on, other kind of stuff to distract you. The bottom line is, people, they don't want you to know that they're having to borrow a lot of money. A lot of money, a lot of money. I used to recommend a guy named Greg Marino. Let me see. Greg Marino. Now, Greg's been doing something different lately. I don't know what he's doing. I'm kind of scared for him. He's been running 1-minute videos. But the guy is smart. He used to work. He's been out there. He knows what he's doing. Greg's a smart guy. But Greg has really changed. I think something's going on. I'm not sure. I hope he don't get mad at me if he finds out. But I think something, I know he's into his Rastafarian thing, but this guy is a smart economist. But I got the feeling something has happened. I don't understand why he's doing these 1-minute videos. It might be because I think he said back in the day they were messing with him and stuff. And so I guess this is his way of working around it with 1-minute little excerpts. But I enjoyed his long videos back in the day. He used to do longer videos, more in-depth, and now he's doing these 1-minute little snaps. And I guess the people like it, but I don't. I like the old school. As you can see, he stopped around here a couple months ago. He used to do the 17, 20, 20. Anyway, this guy here, I recommend him in terms of learning about this economy. Greg Marino, you can check him out. And also I will recommend Gerald Salente. Gerald Salente from New York. This is a smart guy too. Check him out. I've been following these guys for years. He does long videos. Him and they do videos also together. Also, he does roundtable discussions. He does a lot of stuff. He's an old school New Yorker, and he does videos with Greg as well. So check him out. The Trends Journal, who also has a magazine, Trends Journal. Check him out. Economics. Another lady I recently started checking out, her name is Cheerleader for Change. Cheerleader for Change. Desiree Townsend. Just type this stuff. She's on TikTok. Check her out every day. She's there every day at the Capitol giving you information, okay? I checked out her videos earlier, and you can get up-to-date information as to what's popping off. She does this every day. She's on the grind. And I'll only recommend people which I think can give you helpful information, okay, people? But yeah, my name is Friendship Pearson. If you like the video, please subscribe, tell people about the channel. And do you think that the election tomorrow is in relation to them giving the folks their SNAP benefits? My name is Friendship Pearson. God bless.